Hey guys, welcome to Just Be Handy. We're back from our road trip and we hit the 200,000 miles on this road trip. And I'm going to do as quick of a review for you on this car as possible. It has the 200,000 miles on it now, and as you could see, I've just got the car sitting here and trying to show you the mileage. It's not on, so that check engine light isn't really there. Here, I'll turn it on for you. And I have the door open and the seat belt off, so that's all it's showing. And you saw how quickly it started, and I'll show you later as to why. And what I did for the winter time is I put on snow tires. So these are not the OE rims, they're aftermarket rims, but I put snow tires on because the area I live in, they hardly ever plow or put salt down or anything like that, and so the roads are not the greatest. This is a base model 2005 Toyota Highlander with front wheel drive. It is not the all-wheel drive version. So the biggest telltale is it'll say V6. The 4-cylinder will not have any markings on the back. That's just front wheel drive 4-cylinder. The hitch on here is an OE that I put on myself. It did not come with a hitch originally when I bought it. And a little history about this vehicle: it was a rental that we bought from a dealer in Milwaukee with 26,000 miles on it. It was a 2005. We bought it in July of 2006 and only had 26,000 miles on it, and it was in really good shape. As you can see, we are in the Midwest and there's hardly any rust on this vehicle. There's just few rust areas. There are some rashes on it from parking lots around here and careless people around us. There's of course a lot of rock chips on here. This car has been through 3 windshields. This is the 3rd because of rocks being thrown at it from trucks and the guys not putting on their canopies over their loads. But again, this is just a base front-wheel drive model, and the neat thing about the front-wheel drive models without the 3rd seat is that you get a lot of room in the back. So this is my gear for winter in case I get stuck somewhere. I've got a shovel and all this emergency kits, and if you guys are interested in it, I can go into it more. I've got a little charger air pump that I carry with me because I don't want to really be dependent on anybody if I get stuck somewhere. And then as you can see, the storage here from the front wheel drive with just the regular seating in place of that 3rd seat, you get all this space in there to put the tongue for towing, an extra tool set. I also came up with my own net that I put together, so I didn't go with the OE net, and basically put these guys on here. Took out the screws and put longer screws to take those on, and then I got an aftermarket net, and it works really well. The only thing is, because it protrudes, you have to kind of wiggle it around there. So then I got a dash cam that I put in the back and I plug it in there just so with the amount of driving I do, it's 50 miles to work, 50 miles back. Takes about an hour, 15 hour and a half depending on the weather. There's all kinds of bad drivers on the highway, as you know, and this is a good record keeping for me. As you could see, also this lens here was busted, so I put my rear view camera on there, and that helps with my double DIN radio that you guys saw for the backup camera. And like I said, this car hardly has any rust on it, but you can see it's starting a little bit under here, which I can't do much about. But what I do is just get the car washed every month with the underbody and all that. And again, it's a 2005 with 200,000 miles on it. And as you can see, it's fairly spacious for the 2 child seats that I have. It's been kept up in pretty good condition. And as some of you know, that middle rest has got 2 cup holders in it. It's got 2 cup holders per person in the back. And it's got the ashtray for those old days, and then a little pocket for stuff. Nice armrest. Center console area that has a lot of room to put stuff in. 2 cup holders in there. Again, it's got the ashtray, cigarette lighter, the double din radio I put in. That also came with a dash cam that's up there. What can I say about this car? The only issues I had with it were this knob would get loose and then it would not turn on the heat in the winter time. So what you had to do was take the knob off, tighten that screw up, and then put on some Loctite or a drop of super glue so it wouldn't come loose anymore. And then that issue goes away. You don't have it hunting and wandering as to where the heat setting was. It would just fluctuate on its own when that was loose. Other than that, really no other issues other than self-induced issues, because I have a remote start on here. And when I went to do the relay work in the door for the door to open and close with the remote start, it was basically fried, and it would just keep popping open. So I had to replace that module. All right, we'll go in to look at the hood, under the hood, and take a look at the engine. So let me prop this up and we'll take a look here. All right, guys, this is what's under the hood. I took the cosmetic cover off because it started to rattle pretty close to 170,000 miles. I couldn't get these tight enough. It has the front cosmetic screws on there, and it would clip on here, and it would just sit there and rattle and make a lot of noise. And you guys saw that I had to change the alternator in one of my videos. The only reason the alternator went was because I had that bad Gates belt. Again, the alternator would have been just fine. It's just the bearings went bad on it. So I'll rebuild that at some point. Now I do have to change the spark plugs, so you'll see a video on that. It'll be my second set of spark plugs. And then I'm going to change the transmission oil filter. You can see there's a little bit of oil here, but I really don't think it's leaking anything. It could be just because of age, but when the cosmetic cover was on, when you would put oil in here, sometimes it would drip past and it would just get all over while you're pouring too fast. Now this oil change has over 3,000 miles on it, and you could see it still looks good. It's still on the full mark, and that's with over 3,000 miles on the oil. And what else can I say? Yes, changing the spark plugs, you have to remove that intake plenum, and it's a little bit of a job, so I always recommend also changing the PCV, which is back there, because this will be out of the way. Other than that, I think it's really easy to service this vehicle. The oil filter is right under this exhaust manifold here. I put on a Fumoto valve on this vehicle as well for oil changes. You can see that down there. Let me see here. Yep, you can see it right there. So it's real easy to change oil that way. Other than that, you've seen my videos on changing the suspension. The only issue I had with the suspension was a rear strut blew out while I was going through road construction. And then I ended up changing all the struts. And then shortly after that, one of the lower control arms, the bushings were a little worn, so I went ahead and changed the lower control arms, the tie rods, and also the drive shafts, just to be on the safe side since I was already in there. I really did not have to change any of that stuff, but I did it just to be on the safe side. Another thing that most of you don't know about is that Toyota will give you all the history of your vehicle from day one, service history that's been recorded at the dealerships. So you can get all that information on the Toyota website for Toyota owners, and putting in your VIN, you'll be able to get that. And also I leave a lot of my service history, whether I do it myself or have somebody else do it for me, on that website. So when I go to a dealership, if I needed any service and they say, well, you haven't done this or done that, nope, it's right in front of them. They have all that information as well, and I have it in my record. And then if you want to go and trade in your vehicle at some point, you will have that. Again, you've seen my video on the batteries. This battery is from 2017. I always put trickle chargers on my batteries over the weekend when the cars are sitting, so that they can stay really strong during the cold weather months and they don't fall apart on the summer months. But it's, again, not bad shape. Little rust here and there for 200,000. You could see, yeah, there's a little bit of rust starting there. Little bit from some rocks that may have hit it. Other than that, very clean everywhere. Toyota does a real nice job. I'll try to show you the underbody here while I'm outside. You could see it's fairly clean for a 2005, and all I do is just basically go through a car wash once a month with the underbody. I don't do much at all. I don't do any rust proofing or anything. Exhaust system is all original. I've had to do some clamps to get rid of rattles, some hose clamps. Let's see here from the back. You can see the spare tire is the original. I always bring that down every once a year and then spray it with some CLP, Clean Lubricate Protect, on the steel line, so I never have issues. You can see it's fairly clean everywhere. The other issues that sometimes you take it to service centers, they end up not putting their jacking points on correctly and bend your car. I mean, yeah, you can't really help that with some places, and I'm going to try and bend that back. And see, it's a little bit rusted now because it got compromised. You can see there. So I'll have to treat that around May. Again, just showing you around the vehicle. It's held up very well. I do recommend these as used vehicles if you're looking for a used vehicle. You sometimes don't know the history of them, but if the owner did oil changes every 5,000 to 6,000 miles, use full synthetic, it'll be in great shape. Transmission, I change the fluid, just drain and fill every 35,000 miles. So I hope you guys found this informative. These things are basically glorified Camrys for the front wheel drive version that I have. I always like to get as base of a model as possible so that I don't have a lot of issues. The electronics are less, and other things that could go wrong are less. So like no sunroofs or anything like that. I believe in the basics. I did gain about 1.5 miles to 2 miles per gallon when I changed my front hubs and bearings from that all-in-one knuckle that comes from Moog. I can tell you that that was a surprise for me when that happened, but it was a pleasant surprise. So that's another tip there. Hope you found this informative. Please give us a thumbs up, and like I said, my family loves this vehicle. We brought our little ones home in it. It's helped us in 2 moves by pulling trailers, and just can't say enough about it. Just been a loyal vehicle to us. It's good, old, faithful, and we've hit that 200,000 mile milestone, and I think honestly it'll give us another 100,000, but next time I change the timing belt, I'm gonna have to change the cam seals and go into it a little bit more than I did this time, but that'll be okay. That'll be pretty close to about 5 years from now. So alright guys, thumbs up. Please join by subscribing, and we'll have more content. If you guys want to know anything else about this vehicle, please feel free to mention it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you, and have a blessed day.